Mi vida es pintar.
Medellin, Colombia, gave origin in 1932 to the life of Maestro Fernando Botero. From bullfighting in 1944 to painting was a somewhat steep step. Since bullfighting was not his vocation whatsoever, an incident led him to create his first watercolor work, a bullfighter. Thus, the artist was born.
His friends were saying, "Are you goddamn crazy? Artist? What are you talking about? You're gonna die of hunger, your family will starve, you're absolutely crazy." But strangely enough, my grandmother, his mother, was supportive.
She was a very, very conservative woman, so it was very courageous on her part, to give my father that freedom or that support which he needed.
He worked as an illustrator for a local newspaper, the profits from which helped him finance his studies. But his forward-looking and unorthodox views made him a target for criticism.
Un día le dije a José Mejía, ¿por qué no puedes escribir un artículo de Picasso? Pues sí, escríbelo y te lo publico. And then I put a sentence in my article that said that Cubism with the broken force shows the destruction of individualism in the contemporary society. That was a very Marxist subject that perhaps I read it someplace, and I love it, and then I put it in my article. And they threw me out of school because of that. I said, "You are a rotten apple in this school, you get out," and they threw me out.
After being expelled from the Bolivarian school, which in addition considered his drawings obscene, he went on to complete his study at the University of Antioquia, and his journey in the art world began.
Botero really wanted to be a chapter in the art history. And that was a great difference with many other good painters and artists in Colombia. They never had the ambition that Botero had. He makes a risky decision is to go outside and see what he can do.
When he arrived in New York for the first time, which was back in the 1960s, he arrived literally with $200 in his pocket. New York was a very important city for him.
Fernando Botero's first exhibit in the United States took place in 1962, and the critics were not late to respond. It was overwhelmingly positive. This led him to hold exhibitions in Europe, other cities in the United States, his native Colombia, and the world. His experimentation with colors and shapes never ceased to be part of his life. Botero's personal life is not far from his artistic life. His children have been part of his flourishing. In 1954, Botero married Gloria Zea, with whom he had 3 children, Fernando, Dina, and Juan Carlos. 10 years later, he married Cecilia Zambrano, and in 1978, Botero married the Greek artist Sofia Vari. In 1970, just at the pinnacle of his career, his son Pedro Botero, affectionately known as Pedrito, was born in New York as a result of his second marriage. When his son was only 4 years old, Botero and his family were involved in a tragic accident in Spain, where Pedrito died. The death of his son would leave traces in Botero's work, which from that moment on began to undergo profound changes.
He closed himself in his studio and he forced himself to paint Pedrito once and again in the most beautiful series of paintings about Pedrito, forcing himself to recreate the child's face in each canvas, in each drawing.
In 1983, he moved to a property in Pietrasanta in Tuscany, a small town famous for its castings, which for Botero meant the continuity of his sculptural work. For a little over 75 years of his prolific career, his work of figurative style and defined contours has been exhibited throughout the world, sold in the most important auction houses, reaching sales records for a contemporary visual artist. At the age of 90, Fernando Botero lives and works in Monte Carlo with his wife Sofia Vari, and is internationally recognized as one of the great masters of Latin American art of all time. For his trajectory and exceptional contribution, the Museum of Latin American Art.
Dedicates the Legado Award, Legacy for the Arts, to Fernando Botero.